It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed. Your body is heavy, completely exhausted. You need to sleep. But your brain decides this is the perfect time to replay that awkward conversation from 3 days ago. Or maybe it's running a simulation of tomorrow's presentation, calculating every single way you could fail. You are physically tired, but your mind is running a marathon. If this hits home, you are not alone. Research suggests that 73% of adults between 25 and 35 overthink regularly. It's not just a bad habit, it's an epidemic. But here is what most people get wrong. You can't just tell yourself to stop. Overthinking isn't a switch you flip. It's a biological mechanism. It's your brain trying to protect you from uncertainty, but getting stuck in the process. Today, we are going to open up the hood of the human mind, and we're going to look at why your brain gets stuck in these loops, the difference between solving a problem and just spinning your wheels, and most importantly, the actual psychological tools to break the cycle. Let's dive in. Act 1. What actually is overthinking? Let's keep this simple. Psychologically, overthinking is when you analyze a situation repeatedly without ever reaching a resolution. It's a car stuck in the mud, wheels spinning fast, engine roaring, but the car isn't moving. But not all overthinking is the same. There are two distinct flavors, and knowing which one you're doing is the first step to fixing it. 1. Rumination, the past. This is the rearview mirror trap. You are replaying history. Why did I say that? Why did they look at me like that? I should have done X instead of Y. 2. Worry, the future. This is anticipatory. It's your brain trying to predict the future to prevent pain. What if I get fired? What if she leaves me? What if I make the wrong choice? The truth bomb. Studies show that 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. And of the 15% that does happen, 79% of people handled it way better than they thought they would. So nearly all of your mental energy is being spent on ghosts. Act 2, the neuroscience. Why your brain does this. Why is your brain sabotaging your sleep? Let's look at the hardware. The default mode network, the screensaver. Your brain has a default setting called the default mode network, DMN. This kicks in when you aren't focused on a specific task. For overthinkers, this screensaver is glitchy. Instead of relaxing, daydreaming, it defaults to intense self-criticism. The amygdala versus the prefrontal cortex. Imagine your brain has two pilots. The amygdala. This is your ancient alarm system. It detects threats. The prefrontal cortex. This is the rational CEO. It handles logic and planning. When you overthink, your amygdala pulls the fire alarm because of a thought, e.g., what if I fail? It can't tell the difference between a tiger in the room and a scary thought in your head. It pumps you full of stress hormones, cortisol. Usually the CEO, prefrontal cortex, steps in and says, relax, it's just a thought. But when you are tired or stressed, the CEO is exhausted. The alarm keeps ringing and no one is there to turn it off. This creates the anxiety loop. You think a scary thought, body releases stress hormones, you feel anxious, your brain assumes there must be a real threat, you think more scary thoughts. Act 3. The root causes, it's not just in your head. Why you? Why now? Usually it comes down to three things. 1. Intolerance of uncertainty. The human brain creates certainty to feel safe. Overthinking is just your brain trying to force certainty on an uncertain future. You think, if I analyze this enough, I can control the outcome. Spoiler, you can't. 2. Perfectionism. Perfectionists are terrified of being wrong. They overthink because they are looking for the perfect solution, but because life is messy, the perfect solution doesn't exist, so they never stop searching. 3. The illusion of productivity. This is the most dangerous one. Overthinking feels like work. It feels like you are doing something responsible. Stopping feels like you're being lazy or careless. Act 4. The cost of overthinking. We need to be honest about the damage this does. Mental health. It is the fast track to depression and generalized anxiety. Physical health. Chronic overthinking keeps your body in fight or flight mode. This means chronic inflammation, headaches, digestive issues, and a weakened immune system. Analysis paralysis. You become so afraid of making the wrong choice that you make no choice. The life window. This is the saddest part. When you overthink, you are watching your life through a window instead of living it. You're at dinner with friends, but mentally, you're at the office. You are missing the only thing you actually have, the present moment. Act 5. How to break the cycle. The protocol. Okay, theory is over. How do we actually stop? Here are 5 psychological tools you can use tonight. 1. The scheduled worry technique. This sounds crazy, but it works. Do not try to stop worrying completely. That's impossible. Instead, schedule it. Give yourself 15 minutes at 4 p.m. Call it your worry time. If a worry pops up at 10 a.m., write it down and tell your brain, not now. We will freak out about this at 4 p.m. When 4 p.m. comes, worry as hard as you can. Usually, by the time you get there, the urgency is gone. 2. The 5-minute rule. When you are stuck in a loop, ask yourself, is there an action I can take in the next 5 minutes to solve this? If yes, do it. Send the email. Make the apology. Book the appointment. If no, then this is not a problem to be solved. It is a truth to be accepted. Force a switch to a physical activity. 3. Externalize the data. Your brain is a terrible place to store data. It loops things. Write it down. When thoughts are swirling in your head, they feel infinite and terrifying. When you write them on a piece of paper, they look small. You can look at them and say, oh, that's actually kind of silly. 4. Cognitive diffusion. This is a fancy therapy term for unhooking from your thoughts. Instead of saying, I'm going to fail, rephrase it to, I am having the thought that I might fail. See the difference? You are not the thought. You are the observer of the thought. It creates distance. 5. Fact check your brain. Your brain is a liar. It constantly uses cognitive distortions like catastrophizing, assuming the worst possible outcome. Mind reading, assuming you know what someone else is thinking. When you catch a negative thought, put it on trial. Ask, what is the actual evidence for this? Is there evidence against it? Conclusion, you are not broken. Your brain is just trying to keep you safe using an outdated method. Overthinking is a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. It requires you to be brave enough to sit with uncertainty. It requires you to trust that you can handle whatever happens, even if you haven't rehearsed it 1,000 times in your head. You don't have to think your way through life. You are allowed to just live it. Action step. If this resonated with you, I want you to try the scheduled worry technique this week. Let me know in the comments. What is the #1 thing keeping you up at night right now? Let's talk about it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into your mind. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.